Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Rational Investors Daily Brief Recap. It is December 31st. We made it to the end of 2019. So, Happy New Year's. If you happen to be watching this in Asia, it's already New Year's happening. And of course, the Europeans, they're heading into their New Year's event. And us North Americans still fairly early in the day here, but North American markets are closing in about a half an hour here, so it's going to be very quiet, and I can feel the market winding down here into the end of the session. And of course, tomorrow's a holiday, so it's going to be pretty splotchy action here, and I'm seeing a lot of sort of window dressing right now. Also, too, we have the end of the quarter as well as the end of the year. So, interesting, we are getting some fun price action and some ideas that we've been touting recently. So, never a dull moment around TRI. And unfortunately, I do like the idea of accumulating crypto right now, but unfortunately, I think crypto is still in that accumulation phase. And probably a good idea just to cool your jets. Things are looking a little heavy here, but we'll go take a look at this little chart deck that I like to put together for you guys. It's been basically the same message, but some really interesting price action. So some different stuff that we'll take a look at here today. I'm humming and hawing about using TradingView's US dollar index. I was sort of concerned about crazy prints there a few days ago, but interesting to see that even though TradingView did this and the futures markets didn't, but man, we have just seen a massive meltdown in the US dollar here, which frankly, I gotta say, has been a bit surprising to me. We'd spent a lot of time recently talking about stopwatches, stopwashes up top, stopwashes down below, take it to the middle of the range, and I kind of thought that the market was going to be parked here into the end of the year, but nope. And what we're seeing, which quite surprises me, but we're seeing a wholesale move into a lot of different currencies around the world. This really, it kind of took me by surprise. But at the same time, too, right? We're supposed to have strong opinions loosely held. So, you have to be a student of the market. You have to just take what the market gives you. So it's really interesting looking at markets like the euro. And actually seeing there's bottoms coming in here. What the hell's going on? I suppose you can make the argument, bottom of value. I really thought this gap ought to have been filled in. But, we were in reload zones and they came down once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. They put in a lot of tests of these lows and they've started to move it back up. So we'll see how this goes, but that's a really interesting development in the second largest component in the US dollar index. But also, too, seeing some really interesting price action. Here's the Canadian dollar. And hopefully you're all familiar with this bot setup. And wow, what a pretty setup here. 1 low, 2 lows, 3 lows, 4 lows, 5 lows. Look at all these W's. And look at the pop-up here. So it looks to me like we might see a pretty nasty sell-off in the US dollar index. And maybe to a certain degree that makes sense. Jupiter-Saturn cross coming up here in the summer as well. So lots of chaos injected into the market. I've been sort of bullish of energy recently. Canadian dollar, of course, is a very good energy proxy. So, I think I can understand that. And also, too, I was squawking about the Australian dollar recently. And that darn Australian dollar has just gone haywire here. And if anybody was able to take advantage of it, congratulations. But just sort of finish that currency talk that I'm having with you guys here today. I was squawking about these W's coming in here, and you can even see in the daily brief, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they just gave us this level here, and I missed it. Arr! So anyway, W's, take it for whatever it's worth. Sure looks to me like Aussie dollar's probably heading back up top here. You can see interesting notch there, but we might even be having like a Hogue value trade. And notice there are gaps all the way back up top. So, in a weird sort of way, if the Americans and the Chinese kind of make peace, phase 1 of trade deals, blah blah blah, it's supposed to be signed middle of January. So everybody sort of makes peace again. a lot of these sort of China play proxies, maybe they all start coming back here. And then, of course, this is all hinged on what the heck's going to happen in this U.S. election in November. So, in a weird sort of way, like we've sort of said to you recently, the Fed's been sort of put back in the box. That might, to a certain degree, explain U.S. dollar weakness. Markets not seeing any new rate hikes coming. But at the same time, too, the economy is actually kind of showing a bit of inflationary pressure. And if oil keeps moving higher, well, that is inflationary. So, maybe to a certain degree, we're starting to see that inflation concern start to come back into things like U.S. dollar. If the Fed said, look, we're not raising rates, but inflation, it might take off here. People are like, to hell with that. We're getting the hell out of the U.S. dollar right now. Tough to say, but, weekly gaps, upside, downside, I think we're still range bound for the time being. I'm a bit surprised at how quickly we've come right back down to the bottom end of the range. Moving on, risk off. I was worried about the stock market topping on that 1 year anniversary of the bottom last year. Is this damn thing going to go put in an empire here? It might actually do that, which would just piss me off because, of course, I got out of my puts and I've been going, okay, I want to buy my puts back. And I haven't yet. So like a doofus, I'm sitting here just waiting. Look at that empire. And, of course, tons of gaps to the downside. So, we've got, like I said, holiday coming up here. They finished the year very weak. If we have any kind of rally beginning of January barometer kind of thinking, if I can get a trade-off into this wick here against this candle body high, I might take a look at buying those puts on that event. Right now, though, I'm worried that this thing's just going to slide lower here. But we got January barometer coming up. So if anything, hopefully we see a little bit of backfilling there. And, just to give you an idea of the significance of the January barometer, this was last year's January barometer, the price action through the month of January. And then I overlaid the study over the entire year just to see if there'd be any correlation. And I got to say, that's pretty damn accurate. So, I will be specifically watching how January goes, to give us an idea of what 2020 is probably going to look like. So anyway, risk on right now is actually coming off a little bit. We've talked about crude oil up at the top end of its range, looking a little heavy here. But I gotta say, and the oil stocks themselves, they're looking a little bit toppy as well. So, I'm feeling like risk on is maybe getting a little bit long in the tooth. But the weird part about this, the gold has been working its way higher, and we've talked lots about that recently. I'm worried that the gold's coming up into a seasonal window. So be careful here, guys. I don't know whether it's a good idea to chase this stuff. Newmont, biggest gold stock in the world, or at least I want my title back, damn it. I mean, can you go and chase that up here? I don't think so. Interesting how Barrick came up into Mountain Man levels here this morning, and you can see they've actually run into a bit of selling here through the retail session here this morning. I always like to follow the gold stocks as sort of the leading indicator in the space. So if they're looking a little heavy here and, reload zone, Mountain Man levels stop the bull kind of idea above value on some of these names, don't be shocked, right? I also have been talking to you guys recently about how gold itself is getting up into dangerous territory here, Mountain Man levels. I do like the idea of a gold play to take us up into 1750 here. But we talked about this recently, right, where, there's Mountain Man off the daily range, 61.8. There's Brian and his bot, but did this really set up very well? And through the daily brief, we sort of talked about how really, the trade was really probably just buying the bottom end of the range, looking for a rally up into the top end of the range. Well, that's exactly what we've gotten. If anything, what I'd like to see now is a little bit of backfilling here, establish some higher lows, and then accept through this 25. And that, I think, to me, says we can ramp up top. Interesting battle level. Here we are right at Mountain Man. And, of course, I can't chase that there, right? So be careful on the risk off assets. But one thing about risk off that really caught my attention here, remember we said big dump in US dollar, British pounds taken off. Congratulations, Goldman Sachs. Looks like you were going to be vindicated on that call there. Yen, I've been very suspicious about this price action. Went to new lows, gapped higher, and then turned back up. But nonetheless, W's are W's are W's. So this thing's trying to press higher with that whole US dollar meltdown there. I just don't know whether I really like that action, especially with gold acting the way that it is here now. I'm feeling like this maybe is the end of that move, but we'll see. And the real perplexer about all of this is the bonds. They just can't get out of their own way and made another new low here this morning. I was thinking, okay, nice rally up into top. Nope, see you later. Made new lows. And, of course, I'm really worried about the Fed because they've come out and they said in January they're going to revisit their whole strategic vision. And they're actually going to let inflation come back. And maybe that's half the reason why this U.S. dollar is getting whacked here is people are like, oh, crap. So bonds, in essence, interest rates are going up as these bond prices are going down. So it's weird, we're not in a falling interest rate environment. Of course, we got Pluto, Saturn cross January. Shane, of course, long-term asset preference, all that kind of stuff. There is the underlying tide of change coming in the world sort of monetary view. And, of course, how does crypto and Bitcoin play and all that? That's the $64,000 question right now. So there's sort of your risk on, risk off heading into the end of the year. Fascinating market, I'll tell you that much. Actually, I told you guys about some stocks the other day, and I even put out a tweet. Now, I don't know if it's tail wags the dog or whatever, but I even put out tweets. Here's some stocks that I'm really interested in. Don't go and look at any of these stocks on the left-hand side now. They're gone. They didn't stick around at all. In fact, this goddamn, what is it, Neo-Vasgig or whatever the hell this damn thing was. I love the structure. I love the underlying. And then, of course, look at what they go and do. These bastards. Boom! So, this is what can happen in this kind of stock market today, people. Get ready for this. I think the next year, we're going to go in through absolute insanity here in the market. So, and then that SRAX, just to let you know it's happening here. You can't go and buy this, right? It's gone now. But, maybe work some stink bids. I've got a bid to add to this position against reload zones here. So I'll be more than happy to add, but you can't go and buy it now. So what can you consider? And, these are actually one of the names that was on that screen was this PNP. And I like this PNP. These guys actually used to be like all the rage. This thing used to be it. Back in 2006, 2007. I mean, it was the fund to own. And, of course, I hate to say it, guys, this could easily be crypto's fate. I know everybody, don't say that. But who knows? This is how the commodity market, bull market had to unwind. But, 10 years later, look at all the rollbacks. Roll it back, roll it back, roll it back. Right now, structurally, this thing looks awesome. And, of course, I'm in on the long side. And, of course, everybody should look at this and go, yeah, W's, guess what? Beamish is buying. So, love the look of this guy. And then this CETX, we just found this today. Great looking little stock. I mean, look at this. Holy train wreck. And then look at the beautiful W's that are trying to come in down here. You can see there was a cute little W that translated into a bit of a rally here, but nothing really to get too excited about. And then now, gee whiz, look, it's going into W again. And look at the volatility on these kind of names. So, I don't really mind coming in on the long side, take a little nibble, and the cool part about it is, 50% rules just over this past 52 weeks. That is actually the 50% rule high. So that means that really my realistic target is just a nice stab into this wick here. So here we are at $1.30, pick some up, and $4.50. That's not a bad trade, So lots of really, really interesting stocks out there for you to consider. I'm not telling you what to buy. I'm not giving you a recommendation. I couldn't give a rat's ass if you buy this or not. This is what I'm doing with my money, and I'm long. um, we'll finish off the little video here this morning. Just, quick update on the old corn. Nothing's really changed here a heck of a lot. Rallied up into right? Hopefully you guys are getting this now. So big surprise. Rallied up into these, and somebody went no. And even overnight, just past couple of days, rallied up, and somebody went no. Unfortunately, this 3-bar pattern, boom, 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 that's a fractal. So that, actually the loss of that low there, yesterday's low, 72 even, is a sell signal. So we're back on the pooper train. But probably just eyeballing this looks to me like we're probably doing like AB, CD, so somewhere down in this area. Interesting candle body lows. This was a V bottom, counter trend rally, have to go down and test the low. V bottom, counter trend rally, top out, have to test the low. So, the theme of today's daily brief was, look, there's nothing really for us to do on the long side right now. I think they pulled just an absolute textbook FU move here this morning through the New York kill zone. So this is such a great commentary on liquidity windows and how they can just break the crypto kids' hearts. And I think this is an excellent testament that, guess what? Crypto and Bitcoin is now part of the higher ups trading in world. And seeing this kind of action, which you don't often see in Bitcoin. Didn't used to see this in past years. We're now starting to see it because, like I said, we're now playing with the sharks and the real nasty players of the world, and they will paint this kind of stuff to screw the kids on lower time frame charts. So be careful, everyone. This is not a friendly environment at all right now. So, on balance, I'm not really in a big hurry here. We are at the top of reload zone, so nannies can start nibbling. There's no hurry here. What I'm worried about, and I think I've sort of talked to you guys about this recently, is I would like to see one more FU dump. Remember, crypto, Bitcoin in particular, it can't end a move without some sort of horrendous face rip move. That's just the way crypto, I have found over the years trading in this space, is the way it typically goes. Don't expect a nice, polite, quiet bottom. We got to get some sort of big, insane, freak everybody out, and then we put in the bottom or top. So that's sort of what I'm looking for to finish this. Oh, wonderful. Thanks, Brian. And, we went through all the, there are some crypto stocks that are bucking the overall trend. But I did notice on balance that a lot of the crypto stocks, they haven't bottomed yet. Still working stink bids on a bunch of names. And I think they're incredibly attractive levels from sort of value perspectives, but you can see there's no W's here yet. So we just got to cool our jets and we just got to wait for those W's. And my hunch is, and it's just a hunch, but my hunch is we're getting pretty darn close to some sort of pivot. But you got to wait for the W's. And I just wanted to show you, there's one more stock that I'm trying to bid. I'm kind of getting off topic here, though. Actually, TRISOFs, I got a feeling we're probably going to take a real good look at this overstock here pretty soon. And I think I told you, I did buy some calls on this riot, but you can see, fell right out of bed through tax loss selling. So there's no bottom here just yet. Boo, hiss, boo. I've got some calls. I didn't go and buy stock, just got the calls. I wanted to show you that hut because I really like the level of the hut. Still waiting, working bids, so I'm still waiting to get filled. But, it's another example where we just haven't bottomed yet. Well, maybe I'll show you it in another video down the road. I don't see it here just off the top of my head. So, with all that said, go slowly. Really interested in things like Ethereum right now. Speaking of TRI SOFs, actually, we did some math, and it turns out that 6-month calls, we can start taking a real good look at Ethereum $200 calls. Next 6-12 months, actually, we can start thinking about banging out doubles on just to move back to 50% rules. So, super interested in this. As we sort of, through the broiler chicken show and all that, we talked about how there was a potential bottom that coming in here. Hasn't fired yet. But, interesting how derivatives markets are starting to validate that thinking as well. Could this thing crap out? Of course it could. I mean, that's what the market does. It'll do any old damn thing it wants. But at the same time, too, as a risk taker, is it worth us coming in and thinking about being on the buy side, coming in up against these bottoms? I think it is. And then also, too, interesting to see a lot of chatter about Mr. Silbert's stock again. I don't know whether I think that this is the bottom, but it is interesting. What I found interesting was that these two are actually starting to, you can see the correlation. They're starting to look very similar. And if I understand correctly, ETC has actually put together stuff so that you can actually use them interchangeably now. So an interesting fundamental development, and it might be an opportunity where, maybe there's a premium to ETC, and you might see this thing pop up on that formal recognition. I don't know. It's hypotheticals. But I wanted to point out, Tuesday is our TRI SOF meeting, secret options formula. And we had actually a fun dinner with our crew here in Vancouver last night. And we have some really interesting data coming through on the Ethereum right now. TRI SOF wise. Okay, I think we'll leave the free broadcast at that. Hope you guys enjoyed the information. Opportunity is now here in my eyes. Tons of fun stuff to be thinking about, trading, buying, selling, hedging. So have yourselves a great day. All the best, and Happy New Year's. And the only thing left for good old Brian to say at this point is bye for now.